Men and women all over the globe are joining now for the best videos on the internet.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
And I'm doing my part too.
They're doing their part. Are you? Click the subscribe button now to become a member of the Action Pack. Would you like to know more?
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Do you like the French? Yeah, I don't like them either. But we're talking about somebody today who wasn't French at all. He was Corsican. I'm Mike, and with me today is...
Tommy Boy.
And this is Mike's After Action Reviews, and this is the After Action Review for Napoleon.
Hi, it's Travis with Oscar Mike Radio. Oscar Mike Radio is a military and veterans podcast and show about those who serve our country and those who have served and are doing amazing things.
You know what? Let's take more. And then they had that fantastic
managing those logistics and getting things where they need to be on time.
I mean, come on.
Want to learn more? Want to follow the show? Go to OscarMikeRadio.com or the link below. We're Oscar Mike, and we're mission in flight. Thank you.
All right, guys, so starting with the movie's production, as always, by the way, you know, I have my notes. We've got our guest. Here we go. So we're going to start with the production here. So the first list, and again, as I always say, this is all of the stuff with the production is from IMDb. So if anybody has if there's any inaccuracies here or any problems with any of this, take it up with IMDb, okay? Because they are a credible source and they're the one that we use, all right? So the production companies, we have Apple Studios, most well-known for Killers of the Flower Moon from earlier in 2023 that actually just came out with Leonardo DiCaprio. And then Lessons in Chemistry, which was a TV miniseries also earlier in 2023. And then we had Scott Free Productions, most well-known for A Haunting in Venice from earlier in 2023. And then Great Expectations, a TV miniseries also from 2023. So, have you seen any of those?
I have not.
Honestly, I don't think I've seen anything from Apple Studios because I don't have...
No.
Yeah,
I don't have Apple TV, so yeah, I don't either.
Right. Well, you can get, what is it? The Apple TV. It's like Apple TV app or whatever. Yeah. So I haven't seen any of that, but I do know Killers of the Flower Moon was supposed to be good. It has Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio in it. And usually actors who are big enough and have made enough money and are famous enough, they don't get attached to productions that are not well written, at least, because they get the scripts, you know? Yeah. So... I mean, and it's Apple, which is big, so they have a high budget. I just don't know these other ones. I think Scott Free Productions, when I looked at it on IMDb, one second, I have the IMDb right here. When I looked at the production companies here for Scott Free, they had like some other movies that I'd seen in the past, that, you know, because it's not like a brand new thing. They have some other ones, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I mean, I've heard of that, I know of that. So I think that the production value here at least is there. And Yeah, so that's actually like if you've never seen it coming into, so I didn't look these production companies up until after seeing the movie, preparing my notes. But without seeing the movie, you look at the production company. Yeah, so Scott Free are also the people. So they're most well known for those movies I mentioned before, but they're also the Gladiator, Prometheus, Blade Runner 2049, some of those. So actually, they are they have some good ones. I haven't seen anything from Apple TV or Apple Studios. So yeah, but yeah. So without having seen it, like forget about actually how good the movie actually was. It's a good sign having at least the Scott Free Productions. Probably Apple Studios isn't half bad either. I just haven't seen any other stuff to really speak about it. Yeah. So, any other things you want to mention about that?
No.
Okay. Yeah, unless there's something either like really, really great or really, really bad to say, there's not much to say about it.
Yeah.
So this movie was written by David Scarpa. He's most well known for The Last Castle from 2001, and he also wrote the TV mini. So it was The Man in the High Castle, which is. So I haven't seen it, but my understanding is that if Hitler won, have you seen it?
No, I've heard that it was pretty good though. I've heard some people that did like it.
Okay, so that's a TV miniseries. He wrote 3 episodes of it in 2019. And The Last Castle was a Robert Redford movie where Robert Redford is a general. He's either a general or a full-bird colonel who disobeys a direct order from the President of the United States to do something that he felt was morally wrong. So he didn't do it, and he gets court-martialed and sent to prison for it, and the movie is about him in prison. I've seen that one. It's a good movie.
Amazing movie. Absolutely love it.
You know which one I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yes. That's a great movie.
So the writing here, he's the only writer. So usually, I'm going to tell you something, guys. I've noticed something. The more production companies that they have, and the more writers, and the more directors, the more likely the movie is to have some issues. So he's the only writer, and he's a solid one. So yeah, that actually bodes well for the movie in itself as well. This was directed by. By the way, as I'm going along with this, just like interrupt me if you have anything to say. Okay. So this was directed by Ridley Scott. Most well known for The Martian from 2015. That was with Matt Damon. And then also did most recently House of Gucci in 2021. So Ridley Scott, great director. He did The Gladiator as well. I keep saying The Gladiator, but it's just Gladiator. So
Did he do some of the Alien movies too?
Yes. Yeah. Was it Ridley Scott or was it? Was it? He did Blade Runner. Oh yeah, he did. Yeah. He did.
Probably did a few. I probably did a few of them.
He did Prometheus, I think. He did some. Yeah, that's right. No. I'm sorry. I'm having a total. You're telling me this now. I look like a dummy. Yes, Ridley Scott did Alien. He did the original, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did the original, and I think he did like the third one too. Like, I know he skipped a few there, and then they did a few others.
He came back for Prometheus.
Yeah. All amazing movies.
Yeah, so he did the original one, and then there was kind of a controversy because he never planned on there being a queen. Like that was never part of the concept that he kind of had for that. So then in the later Alien movies, there was this idea of a queen, and that's why when he came when he came back. So he did Aliens, Alien 3, Prometheus, Alien Covenant, Alien 5.
That's funny. Yeah, because it was Alien 2 that had the Queen in it.
Right.
And 3 did too, but it was a baby.
Right.
Not to be a spoiler.
Yeah. But there was like a thing so that's why when Alien Covenant and Prometheus, those movies came out and he directed them, they said, oh, well, he kind of retconned the idea of having a queen because he used the black goo, and people were like, that was a stupid idea because the queen was way cooler than that stupid black goo crap. Yeah. I didn't like Prometheus or Alien Covenant, I'll tell you the truth. But anyway, I thought Prometheus was okay.
It was Alien Covenant.
Alien Covenant jumped the shark. Anyway, so he's a great director.
Yes.
So that bodes well for the movie as far as going into it. And then we have music. So music is by Martin Phipps, most well known for the TV series Peaky Blinders. He did 6 episodes. Whoa. Yep, he did the music for 6 episodes in 2013. He also has done all of The Crown, which is a TV series on Netflix. He's done 40 episodes from 2019 to 2023. So he hasn't done all of it, but he did almost all of it, all of The Crown. So do you have any thoughts on the production, like the production companies behind this? What you're thinking of? No,
they got an amazing background. So that's a good setup for this movie. Absolutely great setup for this movie.
Yeah. So regardless of our review here, actually, so if the movie, so now moving forward, if the movie does good, okay, if we end up saying that this is a good movie, then what that tells you is, this is some good people who came together and made a good thing. If the movie ends up doing bad, it's actually worse because it's like, what happened? What happened?
Yeah.
It's we don't want another Avatar 2 situation with James Cameron waiting all these years and then basically remaking the first movie. Oh my god! And then at the end of that movie, a whole army of Na'vi disappears, and it's just Jake and this one guy fighting. It's like, where did that army go? Anyway, so we don't want a situation like that. We don't want this to be some bland movie, or some bad movie. Not that Avatar 2 was necessarily a bad movie, but it has its issues. So anyway, moving forward here. So like you said, a good base to launch from here. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of this thing. So moving on into plot. So we have the runtime of 2 hours and 38 minutes. Okay? I said that this could have been shorter, but it was not a terrible runtime. No. What do you what do you think of that?
Yeah, I'm pretty much same standing. So there's a lot to tell about him. He had a historical life. There's so many things he did, and the timing was just right with how much he did, and they portrayed it very well, I think.
So there's some historian, I forget what it's called, so don't exactly quote me on this, but you could probably Google it, which I'm actually, as I'm telling you, I'm gonna type into Google here, but no, actually I'm not. I'm just, it's fine. But you can Google it. So there's a historical group, a historical society of historians that rank the people who are most influential in history. Yeah. And Napoleon is number 3.
Has to be.
Behind Jesus Christ as number 1, and Muhammad as number 2, with Napoleon being number 3. Because not only was he this great military general, but a lot of what he put in place as far as actual politics and creating a republic and democracy, a lot of that was founded by certain ways that government is run today. Was put in place by him.
after I watched the movie, like I looked up like how much he really did, and with like what was it, civil law? Like he wrote civil law or something like that. Like he wrote a whole freaking section of law, and that's what we go with a lot with today.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a huge figure.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to look it up, guys, because if I do, I have to like go like this, and it gets really loud, and I don't want to. But anyway, go check it out. You can Google that and get more details, because I don't remember. Actually, I saw it on an episode of Infographics. They named the organization that did that, and we're talking about it. So go check out Infographics YouTube channel. Shout out to you guys. And about Napoleon. Yeah, he did a lot of great stuff. So that's why going into this movie, I was really excited to see what they were going to do here. So kind of into the plot here, the plot summary. So the IMDb plot summary. So there were 3. One was very long, so I'm not going to read it. And then one was very short, and then the second one. So the really long one was the third plot summary on IMDb. The first one was really short, but actually the first one is just the first 2 sentences of the second one. So I'm just going to read you the second one, okay? I say that because, Tommy Boy was in one of my first movie reviews ever on this YouTube channel, and that was years ago. So now he's a returning hero. And he hasn't been here, so we've changed some things up. So I'm just giving him I'm kind of talking to him to let him know how things work here. So I say that because usually I read all of the IMDb plot summaries, because it's usually just 2 and they're not that long. So here's the IMDb plot summary, and this was provided. So it actually said, from Sony Pictures. Napoleon is a spectacle-filled action epic that details the checkered rise and fall of the iconic French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte, played by Oscar winner Joaquin Phoenix, against a stunning backdrop of large-scale filmmaking orchestrated by legendary director Ridley Scott. The film captures Bonaparte's relentless journey to power through the prism of his addictive, volatile relationship with his one true love, Josephine, showcasing his visionary military and political tactics against some of the most dynamic practical battle sequences ever filmed. So, not the film, okay? We're not talking about the film. What did you think of that plot summary? Do you think that that's accurate?
It's very, very accurate. Very accurate.
Okay. So I think that it's accurate, but I will say that it wasn't as much of an action epic. Like, it wasn't so action-filled as I thought.
Well, it had its moments.
Right, that's the thing. So there are battle sequences. It actually goes through some of the most important battles that Napoleon goes through. So that is there. But this movie was not nearly as much about the battles as I was expecting, which surprised me, because going into this, I thought that this was going to be like Braveheart, kind of. I thought this was going to be...
I'm glad you said it, because I was thinking the exact same thing. I was thinking like Gladiator, Braveheart, or something along those lines that was going to be built up like that. Not so much as like a documentary. That's what I feel like it was. But
you think this was more like a documentary?
I feel like that. Yes.
Okay.
Like it was it just didn't. I don't know. Are we to this point yet? Like, can we?
Wait, no, just wait. Okay. And by the way, okay. So spoilers are. We can do some spoiler stuff at the end if you want, but not in the main review. By the way,
that's what I was trying not to.
Okay. No, it's all good. So, so it goes over some of the most important historical battles and events in Napoleon history, in the history with Napoleon. The movie actually starts off with the very graphic, by the way, execution of Maria Antoinette.
Wow. Yeah, that was amazing.
And I didn't realize, I get like just off the top of my head, I never thought about it, but I guess, like Napoleon was there at the execution. I don't know if I've ever specifically known that he I don't know if that's like historically accurate that he was there, but he was alive during that time. He very well could have been there.
Yeah.
I don't know if they specifically knew that he was there at the execution or not. And he dealt with the French Revolution was going on, so there was that going on, and him dealing with that.
Wow, did he deal with that? Whew.
Yeah, and then the movie goes all the way through to the end of his life.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and there is a lot of.
I can't wait to talk about the ending too.
Yeah, well, the big a thing that you got to realize too is that so I guess like when you talk about documentary, I wouldn't say so I would say that you're not. I get where you're coming from, but I also don't. So I get where Tommy Boy is coming from, but I don't want to confuse you guys because, and Tommy Boy, correct me if I'm wrong. This isn't filmed like a documentary.
No. It's
not
like
a documentary.
But it's not filmed in the way that you would think, like Gladiator or Braveheart or anything like that. Like just focused on the battles and a little bit in the politics and stuff. But now it is definitely set up a little bit differently, but it's not quite what you expect. But
yeah, so it does do some time jumps as well.
Yeah, yes, it does.
And you get to see kind of the width of how far Napoleon traveled to a lot of places, and
yes,
and a couple of other things. So I think that the story here, like, what did you think?
Well,
now this is not. That's what I
want to get to. Like,
well, just
how historically accurate was this movie?
So okay, that's what I want to say. So okay, my view on this, as far as my review score, is not going to be affected by historical inaccuracy in this movie.
Yeah, mine neither.
Okay,
but I was just curious about that.
Okay, but what's important is, does it stay true to the historical characters, the spirit of the historical character, and is it entertaining? I mean, that's basically the whole thing. So, what do you think now? Without getting into, we both know we're going to get into some other stuff, but just getting into the story that they told. Did you like the story that they told? Did you like how they told it?
I did. I really, really did. I did. 100%.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I was sitting in the theater next to this woman and her boyfriend. And then on my other side, there was these other two guys, and they were sitting there, and we were having we connected. We didn't talk to each other or anything, but we were just so entertained. We're going to get into it here. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to bring I'm going to bring these people in the theater back up again, but we did connect. This movie brought us together, and we were very much so entertained. Happy that we came there, but I think that all of us realized that this was not the movie that we were expecting. This is not the story that you're expecting.
Yes,
and that's
100%.
Yeah, so I can definitely understand where there's going to be people who are like, okay, this is going to be the French Braveheart, and they came in the movie theater, they sat down, and then it started to get into it started to be the story that we're talking about it being different, and they weren't happy. But then there's going to be people who aren't going to be bothered by that because it actually was entertaining even without being
It went through its motions, it had its entertaining parts. Not all of it was that cool. The battle scenes were friggin' amazing, but it did have its very entertaining parts.
Okay, so then I think that we're good. Are you ready to move on to characters and acting here?
I'm always ready for you.
Okay. All right, so really for me, now I go to IMDb, there's this whole list of actors, and I think I'll put them up here so you guys can see them. There's this whole list of actors. And I went through and I said, man, I started at the top and I said, I know I see that guy and I see that guy, but I don't care about it. None of these other guys did anything, so I'm not even going to whatever.
Yeah.
Like, really, there's only two characters that we need to worry about here.
Yeah, there's only two that I really knew and cared about.
did anything with in the movie. Like, not that,
The complete importance of this movie was of him, Josephine, and the country.
Yeah, exactly. So we have Joaquin Phoenix, who plays the part of Napoleon Bonaparte. Joaquin Phoenix is most well known from Walk the Line, in which he played Johnny Cash in 2005. He most recently did Beau is Afraid. And honestly, I don't even know what that movie really was about, because I saw things for it. It's like I think it's like Joaquin Phoenix's character is insane or something. It's one of those movies that's like
worse than Joker?
Yeah. Well, no, but it's one of those movies where it's like you're on an acid trip. Like, that's the movie. Acid.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Acid Trip, the movie. Yeah, so Beau is Afraid. Yeah, he did that earlier in 2023. So I'll just give off some points here, and then we can kind of go back and forth about just the character. Not the other stuff. The other stuff is going to be in the miscellaneous section. Okay. So for one thing, considering how core he is, I mean, he is the main character of two characters. Napoleon speaks very little in this movie.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes, and I'm going to get into this in the miscellaneous section, but this movie kind of has like a monotone, very down to earth, not exactly sad, but just a very flat affect. And so you see Napoleon, and he speaks very little, which also could make sense, like a very serious military guy. He's also extremely eccentric. And that's the one. Well, it's like he's a normal guy, but he has these weird quirks.
Yes, he does.
Which, that's the part where it's like, was that really historically accurate? I don't know how much of it is true. Yeah. It could have honestly, everything that's in this movie could have been true. Yeah. But I don't know how much of it they specifically he wrote in a journal that this happened, I don't know how much of that they've actually accounted for as we know this is the way it was. Okay, and then my third point, and these are my only 3 points, is that you do see that he is a powerful, confident, extreme character, and he's just a military genius. So I was talking to Tommy Boy about this before we started the review. He had a 90% success rate in his battles, and then as well as all of his government, social. You said it better. What did you say? Civil law.
Yeah, he wrote civil law. Like, he created it and wrote it and implemented it, and it's still used today. Yeah.
So he did all of that. And he was also aside from just being the general, but he was also kind of this general. And take these serious, powerful men, they tend to be, that's why he probably spoke so little, and all that stuff. But that's what I was going to say, though. He had a 90% success rate in victories in battle, which, if you guys don't know, he lost possibly 11 battles, is what they say in historical record, compared to something like 60 battles that he was a part of, and most of which he personally commanded the entire army. That number is that's better than any general in history. Even Julius Caesar did not have a 90. It was more like.
Who was compared to him though? He was very comparative to him, but.
Right, but my understanding. So my understanding though is that it's usually it's 50% or less.
Yeah.
Literally no general in history has come close to winning 90% of the battles. Okay. Yeah. So there's that. What are your thoughts on the character? And the acting. Yeah.
It was, it's very much similar to everything you just said. His quirks were quite intriguing at sometimes. especially when he won. His quirks really showed when he wasn't in battles and stuff.
Yeah.
Like his quirks were mainly with Josephine, which was very interesting. But
well, go on.
yeah, like I really was intrigued by his character, and I feel like Joaquin Phoenix, I think he probably portrayed it pretty well. If that's how he really was, that's a very intriguing person to have. He'd been an interesting person to meet.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Joaquin Phoenix, I mean, even if this isn't like, so I agree with what you're saying about like you asked the question historical accuracy and stuff, but I mean, even if this isn't accurate, I mean, man, to play a character like that acts this way and is this way, compared to going from something like Walk the Line. Now, the Walk the Line was years ago, don't get me wrong, but like Walk the Line, okay, or We Own the Night is another movie that I saw Joaquin Phoenix into this character is so amazing. You see the range of the Joker. Imagine going from the Joker.
Gladiator, like he's been in everything. That's
But I'm just saying, like those characters that he played, you see the range of him going from those characters to this character, and you're like, wow, this acting is so amazing.
So talented.
Yeah. And the other thing too is that I think the characters here really work, and this is the thing that I think a lot of people may overlook, and the people who don't particularly like. If this movie isn't for you, it might just be that you're not able to get over the fact that these characters work so well because there's such a flat affect in the background. So everything is like this very. It's like when you watch those movies. So there was a movie with Robert Redford where he was on a boat and he never speaks the whole time, and he's just stuck out on this ship. He's like, well, it's a ship, but it's like a fishing boat, and he's trying to get home because he's like, there was a storm or something happened with his boat and it's not working. He's just trying to survive on this boat, okay? And he doesn't speak a single line of dialogue, and the whole movie is like very flat and almost sad because you're like waiting for him to die or something. There's also another movie with Robert Redford called Jeremiah Johnson, which is kind of very similar. He doesn't speak very much for the first 75% of the movie. And so it's almost this like depressed, the music is all a little bit sad, and it's so then when something really goofy happens or somebody says something that's a little bit quirky, you're like, whoa, like, wow, comedy. Exactly. So I think that's where a lot of the quirkiness works, and where the entertainment value comes from these characters and the way that they're acted and stuff. All right, so then moving forward, unless you have anything else you want to say about... Okay, so then moving forward to the second character here, we have Vanessa Kirby playing Josephine, and Vanessa Kirby is most well known from The Crown, the TV series, which is on Netflix. She was in 18 episodes between 2016 and 2022. She was also in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 earlier this year in 2023.
She was. That's right. She's the Black Widow.
Yeah. So I haven't seen that one, but so
Great movie.
So Josephine, and I don't even mean to insult the lady, okay? But my points about Josephine here is that she's actually kind of a very alluring lady.
Sorry.
But I mean, actually, like a classy. So like like when you see period pieces like this, there's usually a lady who's.
But was she classy in this?
Well, just a second. I'm saying her portrayal. Okay, the way that she acts is that classy kind, like you don't see her twerking and wearing a bikini and walking around with see-through clothes. Okay, so she's kind of like that classy sexual, like touches of and says stuff like that and acts like that. She's that kind of way, but also she also is, and not even she also basically is a whore. And I don't mean like a prostitute. I mean like she is a loose woman. She is a whore. And you get the sex life of Napoleon and her is explored here.
Yeah.
And so they talk about that, and you see some of the quirkiness stuff come out here.
Yeah, a lot of quirkiness comes out between their love life.
Yeah. So I mean, really, those are my two thoughts about her. And I'm going to tell you guys.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts? I will say, well acted. Acting, by the way, acting all around in this movie is really great. So well acted character.
Unbelievable, yes. Definitely. They acted the hell out of this.
Can you imagine trying to play? So we've seen the movie and we're trying not to spoil it, but can you imagine trying to have a straight face playing some of these situations and going through some of these parts?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, with some of the parts and the quirkiness that they had. Yeah, it had been tough. I know they both. I'd love to see the bloopers on this. It would be probably pretty good.
Right. That is a good point. That's a good point. Anything else you have to say about her character and the acting or whatever?
No, I think she portrayed her character phenomenally for, like, hopefully historically, like how she would have been, and just like the dynamic of them two was just unbelievable. Like it was oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So, I mean, basically, those are the two characters. So, other than that, I mean, so I think that, like I said, the acting all around, I think, was great. Going back to production a little bit here, I think that the direction here was great. And so, other than that, then I guess we can move into the miscellaneous section if you're ready.
Yes.
Okay. So, first off, I just want to say, I think that this movie, basically, it seems like Ridley Scott made two movies and then decided, let's just put them together.
I could totally see that. Yes.
or maybe, you know what I was thinking too? It's almost like let's say that two people went to Apple Studios at the same time, and they said, "Hey, we have a movie. I'd like to make a movie about Napoleon." And one guy was extremely into Napoleon's personal life and did not care about the battles at all. Yep. And then Ridley Scott was like, well, I have this movie about this epic battles and stuff I'd like to make. And then Apple Studios said, both of these are pretty good. Let's just, you got an hour and a half movie here, Ridley Scott, and you've got like an hour and a half movie. How about you cut some of your stuff and then you just put the personal life scenes into that movie, yeah, and you just kind of mix them together and you get a 2.5 hour movie.
But it still turned out, like they did good with it.
Right. So I would say that the production of this was excellent on every level. Okay.
Yes.
Let's get the easy stuff to say out of the way. Production was on every level. The costumes, the action set pieces, the writing,
guillotine.
The way that it was directed and how it really pulls you in, even to the point where even as you realize, that's why I said the runtime wasn't terrible. It could have been shorter because it was like at about the 2 hour mark. I'm like, oh man, this is actually getting like, oh, it's been 2 hours, okay. Yeah. But at the same time, I was still like, I still want to see some more. I'm not like bored.
It still intrigues you with details that he did. Like it really keeps you in.
Right.
It was amazing for how long it was.
Right. Exactly. And the characters, you want to see more of these characters. And we're going to get into it here in just a second. Do not worry. We are alluding to this and we are going to get into it here in a second. So it's a very monotone and down-to-earth atmosphere. We kind of talked about that. And that's where you put that in the backdrop, and then in the foreground you have what we're going to get into here in a second. But I also want to say that this movie is, it's definitely not, it's not for kids at all. I would say.
No, they wouldn't be intrigued by it at all. No.
Well, I mean, like, so it earns the R rating because of gore. There is sex, but there's not actual nudity.
Yeah, really not.
So if you had maybe teenagers and you were okay with them seeing gore, it would be okay to watch it, but I don't know that they would be interested.
My daughter would not have any interest in this movie at all. Like it's not
right, but I'm just talking about the rating. I'm talking about the PG rating.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like your daughter could probably handle the gore.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But she
even my 10-year-old could probably handle a lot of this.
And
she loves gory movies, so she's just weird.
Well, so there, like I said, there's not nudity. There is sex, but they don't actually show nudity, but they show sex. But
there's sex. Oh my god.
Yeah. So if you had teens, depending on what kind of household you run, you could probably have your teens watch it.
Yeah.
But they might not be interested in it anyway. So
no, they would appreciate it. I don't think they really would.
Yeah. Okay. So I will say, okay, guys. Sorry, my dad just called me, so there's going to be a cut there. You guys will have seen, but yeah. So not really for kids, really. So as far as the content of what the movie actually is, probably not the target audience is kids, and then because of the rating, definitely not for younger children. Teens could probably get with it. Okay, so then we're going to get into the big thing, and this is the thing we've been alluding to this entire time. I sat in the theater, and the two guys to the left of me and the girl to the right of me, with her boyfriend, we laughed. And I mean, we laughed out loud, like for real laughed, because this has some situational comedy that will catch you off guard.
Yeah. It's the quirks we've been talking about. Like, it's just... Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, if you see in the trailer, I didn't think it would be funny in the trailer, and I'll show it right here. I'll make sure to show it right now. So this is what you'll be seeing.
We're talking about if you look down.
If you look down, you'll see a surprise. Once you see it, you will always want it.
And at first I was like, okay, this is like a alluring sexual scene. It's not. Yeah. But then when you get into the movie, everything it doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit with the tone of the movie. And then they show that scene, and we all laughed in the theater. I was like, oh my god!
I did too. I didn't have any cool people next to me, but it was still fun. It was still enjoyable. Those scenes, like, wow, that's just okay.
Yeah, there was a scene. I like the scene where they're walking around and there's this room full of swords, and Napoleon has to get this one particular soldier's sword. And and he's walking around, and
this is when he actually goes back to Josephine. Yeah,
and he's like, these are the swords, and he's like, but see, he's very like, these are the swords.
Just, yeah.
And the guy's like, yes, and he's like, nobody thought to put names on them, and everybody in the theater laughed, like, just because the way, I don't know, maybe I'm not articulating it right, but I'm telling you, this movie,
it's got it. Yeah, it's got it. It really has a way of just keeping you going with this movie. It is super monotone and flat effect, but it's got its quirks that really keeps you in.
So another thing too is the sex scenes. So there are sex scenes, but they don't actually show nudity. And I'm going to tell you guys, look, this is a little bit of a spoiler for this, but it's not really because it's physical comedy. The way that Napoleon has sex with Josephine, I'm talking about the way that he actually is. having sex with her, like
Stop, baby,
I'm
that's all I want.
no, but it's not just that it's not just that, okay? It's like the director Ridley Scott must have walked over to Joaquin Phoenix and said, Joaquin, here's what I want you to do. And Joaquin Phoenix is like, okay, what do you want, Mr. Scott? He's like, Joaquin Phoenix, I want you to imagine in your mind, have you ever watched a porno? Oh, okay, yes, I've seen a porno. Okay, I want you to imagine in your mind the dumbest looking male porn star during a sex scene. And I want you to imagine that you're dumber than him and have sex with Josephine like that because you see him. And like every scene, and they'll do this thing where there'll be scenes and it's like them talking or having dinner or something with the family or with dignitaries. And then it'll just do like a quick cut to them having sex. And it's like him, and you're like, what? Because he does like a. You're like, and you're like, what? And you're like, what are you doing? I mean, did the Emperor of France really have sex like that? I mean, and then what tops it off is with the characters. And then what tops it off is this great love story. They have this passionate love affair throughout their lives. And Napoleon is over here, okay? And then Josephine is usually sitting there like this. And you're like, and so it's so comical. I mean, I've talked about it before in the show. Like, I'm a Christian, and so like you try to stay away from sexual, all of that stuff as far as what my Christian beliefs are and everything. But actually with this, even as a Christian, this really was, some of this stuff, it didn't really show nudity, but some of this really was just funny. And it was just ridiculous.
Really was.
So, yeah. Anyway, all right. So what are your any other miscellaneous thoughts you had, or any of that situational comedy stuff you want to highlight, or anything else you want to say about the movie?
No, not really. Those were the biggest things, definitely. just the quirks was just really kept you sucked in.
Yeah. Well, you were saying something about the ending too.
Oh, the ending.
Is it a spoiler?
I wasn't a fan of it.
You weren't a fan of the ending? Okay. How about we take a minute here and just like so.
But with what I looked up of his death and everything, it kind of made sense with the ending on this movie. It did kind of make sense.
Okay.
Because there's so much mystery behind his actual death.
Okay.
There really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll finish up. Do you think that you have enough? Like, there's enough to discuss about a spoiler section here?
Yeah, I think we could.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe we'll take like 15-20 minutes to do a spoiler section. So if you guys are watching this video on YouTube, go check out the spoiler section video. It'll be over there. That's why I said I always have to make sure I'm watching.
Do we still give our rating, or do we do it at a different time?
No. We're gonna give our here. Well, I'm gonna go through right now here, and then we'll give our rating. But okay, so we'll move on to our final review, our final statement and review score. The Action Pack needs you. You can support Mike's After Action Reviews on our Patreon for as little as $3 a month. Every quarter, once we've made at least $200, we're going to be giving away 10% of our earnings from Patreon in a giveaway over on our Twitch, so go check that out as well. You can find all of the links for everything in the description and in the pinned comment down below. Do your part. Support the pack, the Action Pack. So for the final statements, could I just ask you, so this one has been a full-length video. I've been doing actual AAR, like sustains and improves. So let me just say, can I just have you give just real quick, maybe 2 or 3 sustains, 2 or 3 improves, and then give your review score. Now your review score is bad, below average, average, above average, or excellent. So.
Okay. So, things I had against it, yes, is monotone. I did have that against it.
First improve.
Yes, first improve is monotone. So thus it could be dry at times. Other next improve was I don't know if I can really hold it against it, but my expectation was Napoleon Braveheart or Gladiator type movie, and it definitely wasn't.
Right.
But yeah. But the good things about it, and I loved, was the quirks that really kept you sucked in for how long it was. For how long the movie it was, it kept you sucked in with its quirks and his personality and the acting of both of them, and just it kept you intrigued. It really, really did.
Okay.
And another thing, the battle scenes. Oh my god, the battle scenes were freaking amazing. The just how the graphics of everything and the oh wow, yeah, phenomenal.
The cinematography,
yeah, did an amazing job. All right, what else do I need?
And then your final kind of statement of review.
I would say. I'd say probably above average. I'd say above average. Yeah, I'd give it above average.
Okay. Yeah. So. Okay. So then I'll move on to mine here. So I'll start with sustains. So sustains here is definitely the character, like the ways that the characters contrast. Because like I said, there's really just two characters. The way that the characters contrast with the drab background will kind of like the monotone background really does kind of bounce you back where it sets you up into this. Like you're getting lulled into this, like the battles are cool and this is cool and learning some of this historical stuff and seeing this historical set piece period piece drama play out, and then you have like a quirky moment that really genuinely hits you surprisingly and makes you laugh. So that was really cool. I did think that.
Yeah.
And if that, and I don't know, the thing is that that's not in here anywhere where they talk about how it's actually a little bit funny. But if that was intentional, that really is amazing. Like if they thought I don't know if Ridley Scott thought this was going to be a little bit goofy or thought that, hey, this is actually people are really going to laugh at this. But either way, like this was really funny. And if it was intentional, that was cool. Yeah, so the second improve, I'll just give two. The second improve is going to be, the second sustain is going to be, the way I agree with what you were saying when you said that it gets dry at times, but then this is almost a counterpoint to that, which is, I think that we both agree on here though, is that the way the writing works and how the events happen is, you have like an interesting thing happen, and then not like filler, but just a little bit of a lull in the action, and then you'll have like a funny, quirky, weird thing between the characters, and they bounce off of each other, and it keeps you entertained, moving the plot forward to to another historical.
Next event.
Yeah, whether that be a battle. Yeah, whether that be a battle or like when he ascends to the throne or any of all that stuff. So that's cool.
Emperor or Egypt, and like it's they did phenomenal with it.
Yeah, so I mean that's the way that it's written and then all connected together, where there's not like a bunch of blank space for you to be like, man, this is getting. I know that it gets a little slow at times, but then it usually right as that happening, it starts to So that's a sign of good writing. So I would say sustained here is good writing. Okay, so with some improves, I actually just the first thing that I have to say is in agreement with you is that I definitely get where people are going to say this is not the movie that I thought it was going to be. So like a Napoleon, the Napoleon style or a Braveheart style Napoleon movie, this is not. No. Yeah, we've kind of talked about it throughout the review, but that's like the big
action. No, it's got it's got its way. It's got its
or even like another way I think that it could have gone that people would have liked is The Patriot too.
Yeah.
So it's not that, and then another yes. So then another improve. I'm trying to think of another improve. See, it's hard because I would say maybe if some of the characters had some different development. It's that doesn't even bother me so much. Yeah, I don't think that's not a big reason. And even that doesn't bother me so much. That's not something not being in the movie. The movie's about these two characters. It goes over these two characters. That's what happens. Like, people talk about historical accuracy. I don't care so much about the historical accuracy as long as it has the spirit of the character. I guess that is another improve. I'll say, but only slightly. I guess that it would have been cool to explore Napoleon himself a little bit more. But this is something that really didn't bother me so much because you still do, when you see the battle scenes, you still do see how Napoleon is the Grand Master General that he was historically. So I guess if I had to say a second improve, if you forced me to, I would say slightly increasing the amount that we see Napoleon as himself display his martial prowess. But other than that, actually, I really only have one solid improve, which is it not being the movie that we thought it was. So for my review score, I'm also going to say that this is an above average. And, it just didn't quite hit excellent for me because it was a little bit, I don't know, it just didn't quite have it for me to get excellent. But I would say that it's like maybe a half a step or a full step or a half a step down to above average. So I was happy to see it. I haven't checked the box office numbers yet, but I'm going to be doing the box office number stuff. So there you go. That's what we've got today, guys. I want to thank you all for watching. Go check out the spoiler section video. Tommy Boy, anything you want to say to everybody before we go?
No, thank you for having me again. Thank you for getting me to this movie and watching it and being able to do this awesome review of it.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. That's all we got today, guys. We want to thank you all for watching. Like I said, go check out the spoiler review. God bless you all, and have a good day. Don't forget to check me out on Twitch and join the Discord where you can voice chat with me while I live stream and you won't be recorded or anything on YouTube and Twitch, so that's pretty cool. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. If you like to read, you can see my after action reports on my blog. And if you are interested, you can get some merch from my spring store. The links for everything are in the description below.